Good morning, everyone. We'll give folks another minute or two to sign on here, and then we'll get started. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the July ATA meeting for the Chicago COC. I'm Mike Corcoran, the Director of Information Services for All Chicago. Also joining from my staff is Alex, who is our HMIS analyst and provides a lot of support to you folks from the help desk and configuration of the system. For the meeting today, everybody's muted. If you have a question, please ask your question in the question box, and we'll do our best to answer questions as we go along. The agenda for today, we're going to go through some things with the community services, also known previously as Service Point, user interface update that WellSky, our vendor, has scheduled. Talk further about the HUD 2024 HMIS data standards. Talk about a survey we did for data quality, some updates on that, and the schedule for continuing the data quality process for this year, and an update on a training survey that we did and some other efforts we're making for training. So the first item is the community services user interface update. The Chicago COC contracts with WellSky to provide the HMIS system, which they branded in the last couple of years as community services, used to be called Service Point. The current user interface, the UI, as it's referred to in systems jargon, is based on older technology that limits functionality and ease of use. WellSky has other systems in other markets and applications that use a more modern and functional user interface platform, and they are migrating that into community services. So they've implemented and released, as of last week, a new version of community services which uses this new user interface platform. This is going to be the user interface used going forward for all future releases. including the 2024 data standards release that will occur on October 1st, and the preceding release that enables us to do some administrative updates for those data standards sometime during the month of September. This is a long way of saying we have to do this. This is the new platform for the system, and we have to do it prior to the data standards update because it's going to be based on this. There aren't any new features or functions included. It's mostly a cosmetic change. Some navigation items have moved or work differently, so it's going to look different and behave a little different for users. WellSky does plan to use this new user interface to actually provide new features and functions and releases planned for early in 2024. But nothing will change for the balance of this year other than the look and feel. WellSky conducted a webinar last Friday that was open to all users to introduce the new user interface. That webinar is recorded, and the recording is available. We'll distribute the links to that. Among the changes, in addition to the look and feel, is they're going to check to make sure that users are using the correct browser. And among those changes is that Internet Explorer, which Microsoft retired a while ago, will no longer be supported. So if you have any users who are still using Internet Explorer, we need to let them know to switch to a more current browser. So as part of this, they're changing the branding for the URL. The old one will still work, but they're changing the branding of the URL to link up to the system from Service Point to Community Services. As we said, the functionality of most navigation is the same. There's an updated color palette, fonts and icons. And we're working on an article for the help desk with more images from it and outline changes, and we should have that available by the end of this week. And again, we will distribute the links to that and let everybody know what's going on with that. As you can see in the screenshots, there's a different color palette, a lot more color and differentiated fonts and colors within certain sections of the website. The menu for going to different things like Client Point or Call Point or other things like that, you can see in the screenshot at the lower left. That can be collapsed and expanded. And the user login page also looks a little different. This is what the new UI client record looks like. So as you can see, it looks a little cleaner, a little more modern and things like that, and more color and more differentiated pictures are being used. So again, the functionality differences are relatively minor, but the look is very different. So our plan for rolling this out is to develop help desk articles and other documentation regarding the new user interfaces and the differences between the old and the new. We're going to send an email to each HMIS user providing a timetable for when we're going to be doing the update and links to resources. We'll also update the news section in HMIS to provide things within the HMIS itself, letting people know that this change is coming. We'll update the training site first and provide opportunity for users to access and see for themselves what it looks like during August. We'll finalize those dates, but for people who want to actually go in and play around and see what it looks like, and for anyone providing support within an agency to be able to see what that looks like, we'll make that available. Obviously, if we're updating the training site, it's going to look different for a period of time than what the live site looks like. So we may need to make some adjustments to when we're doing training and those sorts of things, as we have more people coming into it and doing that sort of thing. So there may be some restrictions in actually performing some of the training and proctored sessions and things like that, but we'll work that out and minimize any disruptions that might occur. But a week after that, we will update the live production site. We'll hold a live office hours to provide support to users having difficulty. If you have feedback or anything that you think your agency might need, in addition to any of that stuff or instead of any of that stuff, we're welcoming any feedback on that. We want to make this as smooth and seamless as possible. The new user interface will be reflected in updated training and help desk material as we go through and do updates for the 2024 data standards, but we're not going to be able to update every single help desk article or screenshot or things like that in any of the existing training. So the training will look different from what the production site looks like after we implement this change. Any questions so far on any of the user interface change? Okay, if you think of a question as we're going along, again, feel free to drop it into the questions box and we'll answer it as best we can. We're hopeful that everybody will be able to adapt to things looking a little different since most of the functionality isn't really changing. But again, if your users are running into issues as we go through this, please let us know and we'll try to help folks get through it as best as is possible. For the 2024 data standard update, we've seen this slide before. HUD has released a lot of the information and the vendors are working on updating the HMIS. And so we're going to go through a little bit of an updated schedule, including how we're going to roll this out to the general user population and how we inform them of what's going on and some of the things that they need to be doing. So again, you've seen this slide before. The standards have been released. The URL for the documentation is at the HUD Exchange. They've released the data dictionary standards, some information on the translation assistance needed, supplemental question. And again, these data standards are going to take effect on October 1st, 2023. We will not have the system, we will not have any changes available to us to do anything with in production until the October 1st. There's some things that are happening before then. Let me pause for a second. There's been a couple of questions. Sandra, yes, I think we do want tickets when there are duplicate clients so we can address those. For the action items, so Erica Hernandez has asked, are there action items for ATAs for the interface change besides training and communicating the changes? Just so we'll be holding some webinars and things like that for all users. Please attend those things. And if there are, again, issues within your agency, if there's people using different browsers that have different kinds of issues, a lot of application providers, a lot of service providers only test their application and these kinds of changes in Chrome. So if you have people using Firefox or Safari or Edge, there might be some issues with those things. So just support your users as best you can and let us know if there's any issues that we need to deal with within your agency. Dana Cross asks, when are you letting us know the changes? Changes to the UI? Is that the question, Dana? Oh, the data standards. We can send the documentation around. We went through in a different ATA meeting. I'm not sure I understand the question. I'll work on my audio here, see if there's something that I can fix on that. So Dana, let's. I'm not sure I understand what data hasn't been communicated. Let me go through this and see if your questions are answered, Dana, and then we'll come back to your question. So in terms of the schedule of communications and other things going on to the larger community, during next month, we will send an email to all users with the schedule of changes, the resource links, and the invitation to a webinar to go through in detail what the changes are, as we've done with this group. We'll review and update template and agency-specific intake forms and other documents and processes, so that we have like a template intake form and things like that that we will be updating and making available to the community. Also in August, we'll conduct office hours and/or on-request agency workshops to identify changes required within your agencies for the 2024 data standards. Yep, Dana will send you the links to the both the things we went through in prior ATA meetings, as well as the HUD documentation, and we can set something up to go through those in detail with you on a one-on-one basis also. In September, WellSky, they've committed to early in September releasing a version that will allow us to do some of the project maintenance for things like the new emergency shelters, for HMIS participation, coordinated entry participation, and the rapid rehousing sub-project types. So that's supposed to be out in early September. And then in mid-September or so, WellSky will release a version with the 2024 data standards on a single sandbox site across everybody. This isn't one per COC. This is just one where people can log in get access to see what it looks like, and we'll use that site, assuming they make it available. They've committed to, well, they haven't committed, they've scheduled it for mid-September. And we'll use that to get as much of a view as we can with business objects and other things for the assessments to scope the assessment and reporting changes that will be required. If it's possible for us to get access to that for ATAs or other folks in your agencies, we'll do that, but we don't have details from WellSky yet on that. And Dana, again, will follow up and get you all the documentation on what those specific changes are and links to the prior meetings and that sort of thing. So this slide has a schedule of communication and other efforts we'll be making during August and hopefully early September. Starting on October 1st, the live sites will be updated with the version containing the 2024 data standards. That's the first time we'll have a system we can actually work on. So as of that date, our team will be updating assessments, reports, project master data, and other things to get everything aligned with the new data standards. Sometime after that, the live site will be accessible by users. We may need to restrict access while we're doing updates. We're going to get them completed as soon as possible on the 1st. That's a Sunday, but we may encounter some issues or things that we didn't anticipate, and we want to make sure that everybody's able to do data entry with a system that's set up to do that entry correctly. So we'll try to minimize any delays, but it's possible people may not be able to get into the system for at least some amount of time on October 1st, which is a Sunday. We'll be working on business objects and other reports. Again, we can't actually make any changes, make most of the changes anyway, until the live site is actually available. So the time required to do that is a little hard to estimate at this point. Again, we'll do it as quickly as we can. And some reports may be delayed. Dana has a question about, will the DFSS reports be up by October 2nd? We've talked with DFSS to let them know that some of the stuff may be a little bit delayed. We're prioritizing those reports to get them done as quickly as possible. But with the DFSS reports, the changes in race, ethnicity, and gender are absolutely affecting the DFSS reporting. So that's one of the areas we're talking with them already and making sure that we have the right decisions from them about how to proceed with that stuff. But the combination of the race and ethnicity thing is probably the biggest issue for the DFSS reports. The gender changes, they may need to get some training out to folks on how to categorize those things. But short answer is I don't know that it will be up by October 2nd, but we'll try to get it done as quickly as we can. We'll also schedule office hours and webinars for users once the site is live to deal with any issues that might crop up. If folks have questions or issues with unfamiliarity or mapping into the new system. And we'll also be working once we get that to update the training and help desk articles with the new user interface and 2024 data standards. Other questions? Sandra has a question about client doesn't know option will still show as missing data. That's a data quality question, Sandra. Yes, we can. The specifications for what counts as what in data quality were put in place as part of the COC data quality plan, and there have been no changes to that. One of the changes in the 2024 data standard is that one of the responses has been changed from client refused to something like client prefers not to answer. So we'll have to make some changes in our reporting for data quality in other places to include that. But no changes to any of the data quality categorizations are happening as a result of the 2024 data standards update. Other questions? Juanita McWilliams has asked, how long do you think users may be without access? In the best case scenario, it would be for a few hours on October 1st. The main thing that we need to do is do all the master data maintenance for the projects and things like that, so that they're all categorized correctly under the new data standard. And the second thing is we need to update all of the assessments with any new questions or any updated questions coming about as part of the new data standard. And to the extent that we need to unassign and reassign assessments to projects and things like that, that's a fair amount of maintenance across many, many dozens and hundreds of projects. So again, until we actually see the system in mid-September and what it actually looks like, it's hard to do any estimation, because we don't know how WellSky will have implemented some of these things until we're actually able to see it. So we'll probably be able to give a better estimate once we see it in mid-September, assuming we see it ahead of time. But other than that, it's really hard to estimate how long users may not be able to access the system while we're doing that maintenance and update. Give folks another minute if they have other questions. Dana is asking if we can get a copy of the slide. Yes, we post the slides for the ATA meetings at the help desk. And I usually email them out after the meetings to everyone on the ATA list, so I'll do the same thing after this meeting. So suggested actions on the part of agencies. And again, we've talked about this stuff a little bit before. Review the HUD documentation, review or revise any intake data collection or mapping of your case data to the HMIS. If you have custom reports, we should schedule a review of those things and make sure that we're implementing changes or we've got those mapped out properly so that the reports don't fail or provide inaccurate data. Provide us feedback on any additional training might be needed for your agency. Identify any of the critical reports you use, as Dana has done with the DFSS report, so we can make sure those get prioritized. And when so many non-operational projects that don't need to be updated to minimize our administrative load. Georgia Golden Crosby has asked, will we have access to NHMIS to complete the assignment? I'm not sure which assignment we're talking about. What data the reports do? If you could be more specific, Georgia, about the reports that you're talking about. And Venetia Allen has asked, how do we set up office hours system for agencies to get help for HMIS users? Please contact the help desk, Venetia, and we can get that set up. So the reports, so Dana, if we can, Dana's pointed out that in the past, HMIS team would send ATA the exact changes that are occurring to each individual agency's intake form. We can certainly work with you to do that and mirror what was done in the past. The item on the slide was not intended to just throw that responsibility. Okay, general updates that affect the COC, and then we update. Okay, got it. Right, so we can go through that and schedule time to go through those intake forms, and I just ask that we get copies of whatever your intakes look like, and we can schedule time to go through those things. Georgia, the reports that you have to do, again, I don't know what those are. So the standard HUD reports like APRs will be updated by the vendor. And so on October 1st, those reports will be, APRs, capers, things like that, those will all be updated by the vendor, and they'll be available on the first day that the new version is implemented on October 1st. For DFSS reports, I believe those are due within the first few days of each month. And in terms of other reporting you may need to do, I don't know specifically what other reporting is on your list of things that that needs to be completed. Thanks for the clarification, Dana. Yes, we have all that data from the HMIS, sorry, the HUD documentation. We can make sure that that's provided to you directly. Georgia, I'm not sure that I've answered your question. Any other questions on data standards? So data quality, we conducted a survey starting on the 13th of this month through the 21st. We received 5 responses, and appreciate everyone who participated. Some of the result highlights, there were some issues with inventory accuracy in the utilization reports. We're going to ensure that that data is reconciled. Some question about the completeness for disability at exit. How we handle combination transitional housing and rapid rehousing project reporting. And there was some sentiment for doing more frequent distribution of the timeliness report. So we'll look into all of those things. For the next round of data quality, we'll do from the first of the year through the end of the second quarter, the end of the half. We'll start that next month on the 14th, end it on the 25th, and we'll schedule a webinar for the 14th, as we do normally, to go through training and things like that, to get everybody started on that, that next round of data quality. The survey is still open. If there's anyone who would like to participate and give any feedback on the data quality process, please do. We're interested in getting your results, and we'd like to increase the participation rate this time. So if your agency didn't participate last time and you have some issues for needing assistance or other things in getting that corrected, let us know, and we can figure out how to make sure that we get that participation rate up. Questions on data quality? Okay, training. We sent out a link to a training prioritization survey that had a number of Venetia, yes, I will send you the link to the data quality survey. Yes, August 25th will be the due date for data quality. Paris Gray is asking what browser works best. If that question is related to which browser works best for Service Point, the HMIS, WellSky recommends Chrome. So for the training survey that was sent out earlier this month, with a couple of weeks for folks to respond, the purpose was to gather information on preferences, needs, and current experience regarding HMIS training and use of the help desk as a resource. We got 14 responses back, and we appreciate everyone who participated. Want to make sure we're getting feedback and updating training and documentation in general, and then especially for the upcoming data standards change. So some of the feedback that we got, there's more training requested for interim updates and rapid rehousing assessments. We'll be doing some follow-up on those to get more details as to specifics and make sure the content we get for that is, that we develop is correct for that. There was multiple requests for live training sessions. So we'll be doing some follow-up to get more details on that as well, in terms of which types of sessions and what type of information would be best to do in a live setting. Just a note that our office hasn't been opened up for those kinds of meetings yet. I know we did live training in another facility previously, so all that stuff will need to get arranged if we're going to do it. And is it truly live, or things like via Teams meeting or something like that? So that's the kind of details that we'll be gathering on what types of things need to be covered and how best to approach that. One relatively surprising piece of feedback was that the help desk articles and information are not used very frequently. So we're thinking of adding training as part of the intro course and maybe doing some update things and regularly scheduled training or webinars for existing users on the availability of the help desk site, how to navigate it, using it to get information, and have it be much more of a resource to folks. And we're also looking into how we can improve the ease of use of that so that people are able to find things a little more easily. And again, any feedback that any of you have on those items would be very, very helpful. And another item that we got feedback on was sharing data with the agencies on new user training status and progress. And so we're following up to figure out how we share that information in an effective way, so you know where folks are at as part of the particularly new hire and intro training classes. And again, we can reopen that survey if more of you would like to participate. Again, we welcome the feedback, and if you didn't get a chance, we're out during that period or whatever, let us know, and we can reopen that and provide the link again for any further updates or feedback you'd like to provide. We want to make sure that the training we're doing is effective and meets as many learning styles as we can within the limits of our resources and time to do that sort of thing. Questions on training? That's all the information we had to go over for today. Any questions on any of the content that we went over today that you thought of while we were going through other items? If not, we can give you a few minutes of your day back. I appreciate everybody's attendance. Again, I'll email the slides out and we'll post this and follow up on the questions that came up during the course of this that we didn't get complete answers to yet. So we'll be doing that follow up. Thanks again, everyone. Venetia, yes, we're doing another round of data quality to cover the first half of the year that will be due on August 25th. That's correct.